Hello. Today we are checking out The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 18, Episode 7. Let's jump right in. The episode opens up with all the girls waking up from their night in their respective destinations. I will tell you, the girls in Big Bear seem like they had a little bit more of a wild night than the girls in La Quinta, for sure. The girls in La Quinta sit down for breakfast, and Shannon starts talking about all the evidence that she has that she always paid for everything with John in their relationship, and that she doesn't owe John any money. So she's sitting down at breakfast. She's like, I have all these receipts from all these trips. She specifically talks about a trip with, I think, his kids, and they went up to LA and she paid for this expensive hotel, and the trip was like $10,000, and she was like, I don't owe him any money. She's basically telling the girls, like, building her case. Shannon also makes mention that she thought the money John gave her was his attempt to pay her back for all the nice things that she did for him in the relationship. So again, going back to like all the things that she did, she thought, okay, he's giving me this money for the facelift or whatever to pay me back. The girls say maybe Shannon should just give him some money to make it go away instead of having lawyers deal with it. And Shannon is adamant that she doesn't want to do that and that she doesn't owe him anything. So the girls are sitting there and they're like, well, why don't you just like give him like $30,000 instead of the whole 75, and like don't go through lawyers because it's gonna be too expensive and it's gonna be like all this. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. The girls tell Shannon how much they support her and love her, and it makes Shannon very emotional. And she says, you don't know how much love I am filled with right now. And she starts crying, and Emily hugs her, and it's actually a really touching moment that she feels so supported by the girls. Back in Big Bear, Jen opens up about her ex-husband's current partner, who used to be her interior designer and friend. So she brings that to light, which is crazy. Apparently when she found out, she was really emotional about it, but then she collected herself and she makes a comment saying like, hey, this is your friend, you love her. And I'm like, hold on, girl, did this bitch take her man, or did they break up and then they got together? I'm not really sure. It wasn't clear, but more power to her, girl, because I would not keep my composure. Tamara then opens up about her estranged daughter and how they made a slight breakthrough, and then it went back to not speaking, which breaks her heart all over again. I think this is simulated from, there was a video that they were kind of looking at about Jen's ex-husband sent of her kids, and so that's what triggered Tamara to be like emotional and open up a little bit more about her estranged daughter. If you don't know about that situation, apparently she had 3 kids with her ex-husband, and when they got a divorce, one of them was really on Tamara's side and stopped talking to her ex-husband, and then one of them was on her ex-husband's side and wouldn't talk to Tamara like for years. Like this has gone on for years, so that they don't talk at all, which is wild. Back in La Quinta, Emily and Gina play pickleball. Gina attempts to talk to Emily about last night and their argument. Emily says that Heather is manipulating Gina, and then Gina comes back again and says Emily is the grand bitch now that she's friends with Tamara. So they're kind of going back and forth. Again, not listening to each other and reiterating their points of view. They don't make any progress, and Gina storms off and says she can't take everyone coming after her and being mad at her, throws her racket, and like walks off. It's actually kind of cute because then she can't like get back into the house. She can't figure out how to get back into the La Quinta house, and the sprinklers are on. So she has to like walk back through, and her and Emily meet up, and they seem to be hearing each other a little bit more this time, and they make some progress and end up reconciling and hugging it out. Back in Big Bear, Jen tells Tamara that she thinks she should approach the situation with Shannon a little differently and with a little bit more love if she wants to salvage the relationship. So Jen's basically saying like, I know you're capable of handling Shannon with a little bit more kids gloves or like a little bit softer situation. I think you should do that to try to mend things with her. And Tamara did seem like receptive to the conversation. Then Alexis receives a phone call from John that gets her really upset. She says John has had enough and that she won't tell us what happened with John that pushed him to the edge. But then she says that there's footage that will ruin Shannon's life. And of course, gagged, gooped, all the above. The girls return to Orange County, and Tamara goes over to Gina's house for a chat about their trips. Meanwhile, Emily and Katie meet up with their kids at a candy store and do the same. Tamara and Gina talk about how Shannon has a drinking problem, so they're sitting down at Gina's table and they're going back and forth saying like she has a problem. And then, so when Katie and Emily are in this candy store, Katie tells Emily about how Alexis received the phone call from John, and they have ring footage of Shannon almost running over John's daughter the night of her DUI, and they're ready to release it. Like, what? Like, this is wild that Katie is breaking this news on camera instead of anybody else. And she's just casually telling Emily, like, gagged. Tamara and Shannon meet up to have dinner. Basically, Tamara comes right out of the gate and starts accusing Shannon of having a drinking problem. And then she brings up her DUI. And she's like, I didn't crash my car into somebody's house. And so Shannon gets really upset and walks off to compose herself for a minute. Then Shannon comes back and tries to explain where she's at right now in her life and how she's trying to like better her life and make changes and things like that. Then Tamara brings up the money that John wants. And so she's like retaliating and like trying to get Shannon upset again. And then Shannon says that her lawyer made John an offer earlier that day of like $30,000 or $35,000, I think, and he wouldn't accept it. He wants the full $75,000. Tamara seems to have a little bit more compassion in this moment because Shannon and Tamara went through this whole lawsuit with Alexis's ex-husband, funny enough, where they each lost like $300,000, $500,000 in this lawsuit, and it was big turmoil because they didn't know how much money they were going to lose. And so I think Tamara's connecting with Shannon again on this situation and feeling compassion for her. And so she actually softens up and they hug, and then Tamara invites her to some party that she's throwing on Friday, she says. So, and then that's how the episode ends. I hope you enjoyed my recap. I will link down below a playlist to all of the other episodes in this season. Hit that subscribe button to check out all of my upcoming recaps. And thank you so much for joining me, and I will check you on the next one.